Yay! So it is Thursday and we are live, and I've been waiting forever to do this interview, and I'm struggling with my little light that's supposed to light my face. So I am speaking to an incredible person today and an organization today. And before I introduce them, I want to say something that I wouldn't normally represent or bring somebody on board unless I've met them and unless I know that their heart is in the right place. So I know that with the women that I've interviewed, it's very much I connect with them online, but these are people that I've actually met, and oops. So see, and there we go. Okay, so that was on my side. So the organization that I'm going to introduce to you today, and the person I'm going to introduce to you today, they are busy with extremely important work. And for anybody who knows anything about the rhino situation in Africa and also the rhino situation globally, you would know, the amount of effort and work and money that has gone into projects like this, whether it's for breeding, conservation, just relocating, anything really to save the species. So with that said, I am speaking to the Rhino Momma from the Rhino Momma Project, which is rhino conservation in Namibia. Welcome, Rhino Momma.
Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to be speaking to you today. I know that we can't share the nitty-gritties, but I want you to introduce the Rhino Momma Project to us.
Okay, so we basically bought our first rhino bull in 2010, and he was alone on the farm at first, and we decided we're going to get a cow and a calf for him, and we bought one in. And after that, we basically fell in love with the species. They are really gentle giants. They're awesome animals. They have personalities. We just decided that we want to make a difference in the world, and we want to help them. So yeah, that's how we basically got started.
Yeah, that's the start of it, because I've also done my research and I've met the whole family. And when I say the whole family, I mean even the wild babies. So and I believe your son also encouraged it.
Yes.
The whole family really fell in love with it. And I mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't, right? Who
Yeah.
wouldn't? So we have some questions that we need to cover. I want to start by saying that, well, we have already started, but I want to say that the poaching crisis in Africa, with the rhino population, I mean, this has had such a devastating effect on the species. And it's the anti-poaching units that get sent out, I mean, the amount of money that has gone into protecting the species, safeguarding the species, ensuring that the species goes forward. Tell me about the amount of work that it takes to take care of them.
Okay, well, firstly, when we started this whole thing, we didn't realize exactly how much hard work it is and the financial strain it will be. So yeah, basically we have a lucerne field which we need to provide feed for the animals in the dry season. I mean, obviously, when it rains in Namibia, they don't need the feed, but do feed when it's a bit dry, and I mean that often happens in Namibia. And then also there's extra feeding that we order feed, like a dry feed that we mix with the lucerne, which is also costly. And it's vehicle maintenance, or let me say, sorry, the poaching team need to check the fences.
Yeah.
The poaching team that need to also make sure everything is nice and the camps are closed up, so that, I mean, we don't want our breeding bulls mixing and
Yes.
camps and that. What else can I tell you?
It takes an enormous amount of effort, right? So I know
Yes.
that these creatures are extremely gentle, extremely fragile, even though they are enormous in size, and they have these horns and they have the muscle, but they are really, really very, very gentle in nature and very loving. And, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, just, you know, from a personal, and from what I've observed, just the personal interaction, which of course you guys don't have a lot of because you'd like your rhinos to remain wild.
Yes, yeah.
You know, which I think is so important, right? Because we don't want to domesticate them, like we have with every other species. And because once you do that, you can't really release them back into the wild or put them, you know, on other farms and expect them to take care of themselves. So I can imagine from the anti-poaching to the feeding to the day-to-day operations to the getting the calls at night, you know, when the alarms go off, having to drive out from, what do they call those things that everybody flies in, the gyrocopters or the,
yes, yeah,
you know,
we do.
I mean,
we also do daily gyrocopter. My husband flies every single day.
yeah.
Perimeter, counting animals, you know,
Yeah.
it's also one of the daily.
Yeah, and it's also very risky. It's very dangerous, isn't
Yes.
it? I mean, I can't imagine what it must feel like to have the love of your life, have to go out at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you just don't know what the situation is,
Yeah.
and you still want to see him come back, right?
Yes.
Because let's face it, you know, these are all personal setups. So, like all of us, I mean, Earth Alive 365, I'm working towards having my own wildlife foundation. You know, it's not easy. I mean, I
Yeah.
would like to have my own sanctuary. You know, it starts from home. It really starts from a place of
Yeah.
caring, and then the entire family comes on board, and then, you know, and then you only realize. Wow,
Yeah.
you know, what started out as a good idea, as something as let's do this, it grows and it becomes big and it becomes overwhelming and it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. I think you've had some moments as a Rhino Momma where you've been
Yeah.
in fear, you know, fear of whether you're going to see your love again, fear of whether the animals are going to be safe, fear of whether the staff are going to be safe. You know, it takes an enormous amount of courage, I think,
Yeah.
to do this. And I love you guys. You know that, you know,
We love
and
you
for
too.
everybody who's listening, you know, I will be working with the Rhino Momma Project on a few ideas. And once we're ready, we're going to ask for assistance big time, not only for funding, but also for people who are skilled and creative to come on board and help us.
Yeah, that will be awesome.
So before we go into the cost of sustaining an operation like this, and I have some planes flying over now, um, you know, this is obviously very, very expensive. Given the history of the rhino poaching in Namibia, South Africa, Botswana, we've had people who were doctors, lawyers, vets in the ministry, in the government, you know, who were part of the poaching setup, part of the syndicates, part of taking the
Yeah.
species out, you know. So we don't trust that easily
No.
for people to come on board. And I mean, that's also another thing. Here we are asking for help from the public. You know, we're going onto YouTube. I know that you've been mentioned and featured in the In-Flight magazine, you know, Namibia's In-Flight, what is it called?
Flamingo.
Flamingo.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all very stressful as well, right? Because we don't want to be known. We just want to do the work. And
Yes.
then we have to ask for money and we have to ask for support. And we're not always good in asking people to help us. And we don't know, you know, how to do this. I know that up to now, the project has very much been funded by yourselves, but like anything else, you know, and also taken into consideration John Hume, like anything
Yeah.
else, we run out of money when we don't get the support, or when we really thought that, you know, we could do it in a way which is sustainable going forward, that we could get people to buy and protect, act as custodians, or, you know, give their farms as custodians. But it wasn't so easy, right? Because
Yeah.
with the poaching that had gotten out of hand, the plans kind of like tumbled.
Yeah.
And you had to come up with plans C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, all the way to Z, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go into the cost to sustain the project. You have permanent employees. Tell me about your employees.
We have 25 permanent employees on the farm, which is from a vet nurse to a farm manager for the Lucerne field. We have our normal day-to-day workers, the fence team, and then important is our anti-poaching team.
Yeah, that's the most important, right? I mean, everybody's important, but the anti-poaching, I think, is
they've out there in the front line.
Yes. And then you have your vehicle maintenance. I mean, these roads are tough. You know, you can't exactly get there with a sedan. Yay, that you can't.
No.
So there's vehicle maintenance, and then also relocating, translocating animals. You know, getting them. You know, if they're sick, getting people to them to assist. I've seen your numbers. I've seen the sheets. Thank you so much for being so transparent with me and allowing me to look at that and trusting me with that. So thank you so much for that. So I've seen your breakdown, and I've seen you know, what it actually costs, and then you know, you sort of like you and your husband, you guys don't get a salary from this. You've just, you know, kind of like paid.
It's like a bottomless pit where you just throw all your money in.
Yes. Yes, and then there's also the risk of you know, these rhinos are expensive. It's so expensive, more expensive to actually look after them than when you actually sell one, right?
Yes,
it's so expensive. It take the amount of years that it takes, and then we have maybe some rhino mommies that don't make it. And I think this is also the reason for the Rhino Momma Project, where you said, okay, well, you know, we need some help and assistance for people to come and help us take care of some of the baby rhinos, right?
Yeah. We've actually been very blessed with only losing one mommy at the moment to natural causes, luckily. So it was not a poaching. We don't know why she died. She was an old cow, and she left her calf behind for us, who is such a and our vet nurse actually raised him. I think he was about 2 months old when we got him, and she basically had to sleep with him. We had a clinic which we converted into like a stall for him, and she spent like 24 hours with him and that, and eventually bonded him with a sheep, which took quite a while. But oh my word, they were such a cute couple when they did eventually bond. It was really, really sweet. They loved each other. Unfortunately, we called her Scarp. She's
Scarpy.
Yes, awesome. I loved her. She was so cute, but she was caught in the veld by cheetahs. He is with the other calf at the moment, who is a little bit older than him. So he's doing really well. And but getting back to the costs and that, it's quite expensive to hand raise a rhino with milk. You know, the milk that goes into it, and it's a lot. It's really a lot.
Yes, but it's not just the milk, is it? It's not just the milk. It's the. I mean, like we said there's the staff. Everybody needs to get paid, and then it's so important to get the right people, because these are people that you trust with your life.
And also someone with the knowledge to help with this.
So it's the people, then it's the transport, then it's the gyrocopter, then it's the anti-poaching, then it's the actual feed for baby rhinos, right? The feed for the bigger rhinos, because because they're not just out in the field, so they can't roam the plain. They're confined. So I mean, that habitat also needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about veterinary assistance.
Yes.
So just give me a quick overview of veterinary costs per rhino, if you have that.
I'm not actually sure about.
Yes.
I know, but I know when we do, because we dehorn all our animals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's quite high. It's like in the
Yes.
thousands.
Yes.
It's never less than 20, 30,000.
Yes. Yes.
It's not just the veterinary cost. You have to helicopter.
Yeah.
So it's all that involved as well. Plus the drugs to
Yes.
sterilize the animal and all that.
Yes.
So yeah, it's quite costly.
It is quite costly, and and obviously very, very stressful as well.
Yeah.
So very, very stressful. Hey, so I mean, obviously, I met you guys, and I want to say that Earth Alive 365. When I started Earth Alive 365, it was a very long journey of figuring out exactly how I want to do it, what I want to do with it, the organizations that I want to help. But it's all focused around species. But the rhino crisis was the reason why I wanted to start Earth Life
Yeah.
365, because I sat one day at a lounge, a bar lounge, and looking at a little shopping center that has a little grocery store, a very sort of like posh area. And there were people, asking for donations for Rhino, for their organization, and everybody just walked past. And I just sat there
Yeah.
watching this. Not even R1 or R5 was taken out and given to these individuals standing there. And I thought there must be an easier way, right? There must be an easier way out there for organizations such as yourself to receive that money, And then I also think that was the one thing, really where my thing came out is like, what can I do to help, and how can I help, and who do I know that will help, So as you know, for me, it's very much arts and entertainment, music, and going to the
Yeah.
streets and doing whatever the crazy things that I do, walking around in a pangolin art piece, feeling super uncomfortable. I mean, if you know me, it's not something that I normally would do, but yet here I am following my purpose because I see that there's a need for everyone to come on board and do what they can do to protect species, right? That was the one thing. And the other one, I spoke so much now I completely forgot what I wanted to say. So we have, yes, so so obviously we need money. We need funds, and we need support, local support, as well as international support, global support, to ensure that this species survives.
Yes.
Oh, here it's coming back to me. Sorry, guys, and everybody who's listening to me, but I think almost like, 10 million things at one time. Do you think that the Save the Rhine slogan, because let's face it, when the whole crisis hit and rhino organizations were founded, and Save the Rhino this, Save the Rhino that, everybody heard it, that people are so desensitized to that at the moment. Like, I feel that people are desensitized to that. What do you feel?
I also think so. There is so many non-profit organizations and also I don't blame the people either, because I mean, you never really know where that money is. It actually going into conservation and that. So
yes,
it's tough times. And
yeah. And I want to say something, and I this is something that I didn't tell you that I would say, but the way that I see it with my my viewpoint and everything is that anybody and everybody who is part of the syndicate, who comes on board as part of the poaching, in that poaching industry, if you look at the law, if somebody murders somebody else, right, and you knew about that, then you become an accomplice.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, and you can end up in jail. So now we have, organizations and individuals such as yourself with your own organization, putting so much money into this to get the species to survive. So not only have you worked hard for your money, but you are acting as guardians and
Yeah.
citizens, individuals who, you know, want to protect the species, guard the species, breed the species, and then eventually repopulate areas that where the rhino is missing. Then comes the poacher, or level 5, up to level 5. And for anybody who doesn't know, you know, there are documentaries on YouTube that you can go in and you can learn about the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, which then ends up at the end consumer. Poaching, you know, it's not just killing these animals, but it's also killing people that are taking care of these animals. And you're taking not only an animal life, but you're also taking a human life. And I kind of want to say that the end consumers, who are, you know, these high profile people, should be charged criminally for the death of not only the animals, but also the people that have lost their lives because of
Yeah.
the poaching, and that these people should be jailed.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I mean, what else are we going to say? No. No, I think it's a yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. I feel people that have been in the government, people that have been, you know, all these doctors and lawyers and vets and psychologists and, you know, fake conservationists and fake whatever, whatever. I think all of them have to be charged with criminal charges, and that they have to face jail time. And, you know, it's, I mean, the problem is so big. So you'll never be able to put your finger on one specific person, but the end consumer, and, you know, this is entirely, you know, I think, you know, if we look at where, you know, the horn ends up, that's Asia, that's China. And that China is responsible for this. So I kind of find it very unfair that individuals like you and me and, you know, the rest of them, you know, are putting our money into this, and the Chinese government is doing, what are they doing? Because is it really that difficult to stop it?
Yeah, I am. My would actually be the best one to ask.
Yes.
About that. He's more into that, and
Yes.
hacks and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, I think jail time, I think solitary, I think people that are in this industry, you know, part of the syndicates, part of the poaching, I think that's what, you know, they have to receive, not the, you know, the little gray area. And once you've been charged, you go to jail, and that's it. You have no contact with anybody else, and we follow the leads to get to somebody else. And I know that so much work is being done on this, you know. With this, and I don't want to say that the Chinese government, you know, not necessarily haven't done their best, but but if you're gonna if you're gonna allow products, or, you know, the product of a species in your medicine, or you're not going to be very clear with the public, you know, about that product in your medicine, then this is what happens. And I feel like they need to be held accountable for this, and be jailed. So let's get back to the Rhino Momma Project. Okay. So I have a question here. Tell me your concern for the species going forward. I mean, what's your concern for the species going forward? Do you think they'll make it?
Well, I just like to be positive and hope and pray they make it. But at the rate, first of all, the economy, and then also all the poaching and that. Yeah, I don't know. The best is to educate our children.
Yes.
They can educate their children's children, you know what I'm saying? And then also, yeah, if we can just all work together, and we need
yes,
to start protecting, and we need support, and we need the government to help.
Yes, we need support, and we need the Namibian government to help. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You know, well, I have a whole nother viewpoint on that, but I won't, you know, get into that now. We can do a different interview, and then I'll be very, even more sort of like, you know, on the ball with whatever's going on in my mind, towards the governments and people. But, you know, I mean, poaching has been going on for, I mean, how many years? How many years? Since whenever? Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, then we had marketing teams come in. I mean, you can put a poster up almost everywhere. You can put a poster up on walls. You can put a poster up on windows. You can do, electronic media. You can get the word out there that this needs to stop, and you can create a system where people can report at the people that are in the rhino horn trade. And if people can get that close, for instance, let's say Al Jazeera or Discovery or CNN that had their own journalists go out there, you can educate people, and I mean, you can't tell me that by now you don't know that the horn comes from a dead rhino. So I don't believe. It's been so many years. So, well, to get back to that, I think people should be jailed, right? My concern for the species is that if we do not get the support, let's say for instance you guys don't get the support, okay, then where do they end up? Let's say you don't get the money and you cannot afford to do this anymore. I mean, who's going to come in and buy these rhinos? Who's going to come in and take care of them? And I hope not Asian investors, because well, I don't know if we can trust that, right? Unless they anthropologists.
Well, first of all, if we don't get support, we cannot, as it is, we're putting our own money into this whole project, so we just can't do it anymore. We've put our life into this, and times are tough, and it's worrying.
Yes, it is worrying.
Yeah.
And this, my dear Rhino Momma, is why I am speaking to you, my love, because I've conversed with you guys online, and I've been, we've had multiple chats, and Jaco and I have been angry with each other, and then we've about my viewpoints and that. But point being is that Namibia is not that big, and the lifestyle on that side is pretty good, and people can support you, and you have a beautiful website up. There's a beautiful big donation button. I'm sure that we can give local people, if they don't have PayPal or PayFast or whatever, that they can donate into the trust, via EFT. I mean 50 Rand a month isn't a lot, okay? But if you take 50 times 5,000 people, then at least that's something towards the Rhino Momma Project that can help. And then if we get people, I know that you guys have got many options on your website. You've got options such as, I know that there were custodian options. There were buy and own a rhino, adopt a rhino, and that you guys take care of them. And also, like, if the calf comes, if you've done, depending on what option. That, I mean, I would love to own a rhino. I mean, I would love to own, I think, almost all animals on this planet, just so that I know that they're in my care. But it's completely woohoo, la la land, dreamland. But here we are with people who are investing, and what are they investing in, and why aren't they investing into this, future species, the next generation of rhinos? So if you can take, 1 million or 500,000 and invest in a stupid, I shouldn't be so, my dad always said, can't you just be a little bit more diplomatic, but into a stupid product that's just going to be totally consumer based and not have any value to anybody really, then I'm sure you can take money and invest into an organization and ensure that these species survive for future rhino generation species, our children. Yeah, I think I'm stealing the words right out of your mouth. But so we've covered the stresses of it. We've covered the, where it all started. It started with one rhino, and then you guys really fell in love, and you thought, okay, well, there is this crisis. You can't afford it at that moment, so let's do something. And then I want to say something, that they have successfully breeded, successfully bought, successfully maintained, successfully done everything on their own up to now, and there's been zero poaching.
Yes, yeah, we've we've been very lucky with that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's luck. I think it's been a lot of hard work. I think it's been a lot of time. I think it's been a lot of like, systematically, putting things in place, learning from the whole thing. I know that you've spoken to the biggest rhino breeder in South Africa, and that he's
Yes.
guided you guys through that, and he's given you some tips and some really valuable information, and that he's also at a point now where he's like, he cannot do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's also not getting the support from people because of the whole story of the legalization. Some don't want to give the rhino. And when I say some, I mean, I don't want to give the Asians anything. I don't want to give China anything. I don't want to give any animal bit to any person. However, I've gone through all of the documents. I've read through everything, how communities are being affected, how you guys are being affected, how the rhino population is being affected. I've gone through the studies of the rhino, how it grows back, the whole dehorning, the whole everything. I've gone through all of it. Okay. So I also see why John is for the legalization of that. And why, people are pushing for that. So in the end of the day, what are we doing now to support organizations like you and people like you to take care of your rhinos now? Yeah, and we do that with money. So we do that with money. Yes. So do you want to mention some figures, or do you want to keep that private, or?
Well, for us, how can I say this?
Day-to-day operations.
To sustain a rhino per month, one rhino costs us 3,500 Rand.
Yeah.
That's the same as, I think it's $275 US.
Yeah.
Rhino per month.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big amount. But that's what it's costing us to keep these animals alive. And what we're trying to do is breed as many calves as possible so that we can populate.
Yes.
Africa
I also want to say, when she says breed, that because a lot of people don't have a very positive feeling towards the breeding industry, that you guys are very responsible with that. You keep on buying bulls, so it's not that you're doing the whole what's happened in the lion industry where they've done inbreeding, but that you're actually being very responsible with the genetics.
We have our breeding bulls and a few cows in a camp. Calves get taken out into a calf camp eventually, and so it's also not like the dairy. If you now think of breeding camps and that, I mean, they roam free.
Yes, and they're very fat. I've seen them. They're very fat rhinos. So they eat a lot. What I've seen is they're I'm chunky. And they're really healthy. And I've also personally been there. I've met you. I know that your heart is in the right place. I know that I've seen on social media you mentioned 350,000, and that you've said now 3,500 per rhino. So basically, what you need is 100 people to come on board who are willing to monthly donate 3,500 Rand, so that the rhino can be taken care of, like one rhino can be taken care of. But I want to go as far and say, let's do it 400,000 Rand, so that we can get people come on board, and give four grand or 4K, and then we can also increase salaries and increase anti-poaching, and get a system in place as well that will lessen the probability of a person getting hurt, but that you guys can get a system up, a security system up, the same that John had. That will protect your life, your animals' lives, and everybody who's on board.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to do something cute, because you are the Rhino Momma. So I want you to tell me about the personality of these rhinos.
Oh yes, each and every rhino has its own personality. I mean, it's like having a dog.
Yeah.
It has a personality, and yeah, they just, we had a bull that actually fell in love with a cow, a moo. So they were just such great friends. And others that are, I mean, they all look the same, but they all look different. Some have wrinkles on their face, different wrinkles. Yeah, some of them are like really bossy. Some of them are like really get a bit aggro.
Yeah.
The inquisitive one, I mean, we had a young bull called Rambo. He was always by the car, always inquisitive, looking what's happening, you know. So yeah, they have a personality, and you fall in love with them. They're awesome animals.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. I think people forget, right? Because we're so used to calling animals animals. Well, not me, because I call animals my friends, and then people laugh at me, but I don't care. So I think it's like anything else, you know, if you are in a close proximity with any being on this planet, whether it's a tree or whether it's an animal or whether it's a person, you know, we start loving it, we start looking at it through the eyes of love, and once you see that, you can't unsee it, you know. And then comes the personalities. I mean, they do have personality. And I'm
Yes,
so sorry to hear about your beloved Scarp, because I still wanted to meet Scarp. And
oh, she was so cute.
yes, and I want to say that,
That's
you know,
obese.
yes, I want to say that people use or the organization or the organizations, rhino organizations use sheep to put with their rhinos because of them being grazers. They graze.
Yeah,
So if the mom is not there, then the rhino learns how to graze, you know, because of the sheep.
yeah. And
Yes.
rhinos are they want companionship.
Yes, which and sheep also want.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a love story. Oh,
She Scarp adored tennis.
yeah,
She just rub herself, you know, like scratch her head on him all the time, and she always
yeah,
had a smile on her face. Well, that's what it looked like. So yeah, she was really fond of him, and
yeah,
we called them the trio because
yeah.
it was Scarp and then the other two, you know. So yeah.
And we have a lovely photo of that, don't we?
Yes,
So
yes.
I want to encourage people to donate, and if you do actually donate, that maybe the Rhino Moma will consider sending you this beautiful, beautiful image that she had, that you have of our beloved Scarp and, you know, the two rhinos. So I'm
Yeah,
very sad about Scarpy.
yeah,
Um,
me too.
Yes, they definitely do develop personalities. And yes, they do grow into these, you know, really big, bulky, large land animals. But they are so gentle, and so beautiful in nature. And, you know, I think nature asks nothing from us. You know, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It asks nothing from us. These animals ask nothing from us, you know, other than for us to love and respect them and admire them. And unfortunately, the scales have been tipped, and
yeah,
these large syndicates are just. I mean, can they just stop already? They're just ruining. They're just ruining Africa's wildlife. You know, ruining wildlife all over the planet. And nature really doesn't ask much of us, you know, other than our love and our
yeah.
consideration and our stewardship. So, what do I want to say? So, the Rhino Momma Project is Namibian conservation, rhino conservation. I trust these people with my life. They are really, really beautiful individuals who have walked this journey for the past, I think it's been 10 years, hey, for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been longer, actually. Am I getting my facts wrong?
It's
12 years.
been, I think it's 8 years now.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I
No,
I was
yeah,
just
well, 9 years going on
yeah.
to
Well, eight is
close.
good because then that's the whole infinity. Because you know we have to ask ourselves, so who's going to be the next generation that's going to take care of these animals once the Rhino Momma Project, once you guys aren't there anymore? I mean, these are also facts that we have to look at, right? So So if we can get the support monetary-wise, funding-wise, then you can also put a trust in place that will ensure, that the program continues going forward, that will ensure that the species survive going forward, that will ensure, because then there is a trust in place for this. So
yeah.
So my invitation to people that are watching is, we cannot afford not to support. And the support in this case is monetary. It has to be done in funding. So the mom that's good in baking cakes, bake a cake and sell it for 500 Rand. I don't know what cakes go for these days. Get little markets up and support the Rhino Momma Project, so that Namibia can get their rhinos back. Because here's the thing about, if you take a rhino out of its environment, it is a key player in that environment. And so many other species get affected, and also maybe people didn't know, if you take a rhino if you remove a population from its environment, the soil also degrades. Because the rhinos are they're key players in the biodiversity and in the ecosystem, and smaller little animals depend on them being there, clearing the bush, clearing the veld, grazing, pushing whatever is too big out of the way, so that little paths can be created. So these animals really are very important going forward, and obviously we'd like to see them survive. So 3,500, well, actually 4,000 Rand. Because then we can pay the Rhino Momma a salary and she can relax as well.
For me, it's not about a salary, really. I never have to get a salary out of this. I don't want it. For me, it's for the animals. So, yeah.
Well, you know what you've just done? Now you've just made me want to take care of you even more. Okay, so we should just up that. We should just up that to 5,000 now. No, but I believe that the whole thing in conservation has to be relooked. People that are doing the work, taking care of these animals, must be paid. Because why not? Why do we have government people making so much money, and what are they doing with it, right? Nothing. Why are large organizations and corporations making money and CEOs being paid a lot of money, and at the cost of the world, at the cost of wildlife, at the cost of our land, at the cost of our water, at the cost of our soil? Can I go on with this? So I believe that individuals such as yourself have the right to earn a salary, have the right to be taken care of, so that you can continue taking care of these incredible species.
Yeah.
So that's my point on it. So let's take care of the Rhino Momma and the Rhino Momma Project. So she's asked for 3,500 Rand. That's per rhino. Obviously, you can work that out. So the cost is about just under 400,000 a month to take care of these beautiful animals. And they have everything on their website. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful website, and you can see the images of the rhinos as well. And yes, let's support them. Is there anything else that you wanted to say as the Rhino Momma? I love that.
Yeah, well, all I want to say is that I would like my grandchildren to see rhinos in the future. Yeah, we're really depending on every person to help us, and we can't do it without funding. We really so yeah.
So so to get onto the funding then. So you have, I always say people can just fund and then know that whatever they're funding, that the money is going into protecting these species, right? Because so far you guys have been very transparent and very upfront, and that's been amazing. It's been amazing. Then you get people that don't want to give the money, they want something in return. So for those people, I want to say that the Rhino Momma Project and myself, we want to do a coffee table book.
Yes.
Yes, we want to get a top coffee table book out, so that we can get these beautiful images of Scarp and the new Scarpies and all the other rhinos, like the day-to-day things, the cuteness. We want to put that in the book, and we want to get that into shops so that we can get them funding in a different way, which is not, can you please donate? Can you please donate? Can you please donate? Then to all the script writers and illustrators, we want to do a children's book as well, the Rhino Momma children's book. So we want to tell the story of the relationship between rhinos and also the relationship between humankind and the species. And we want to get that to the children. So it's really important that we get people to come on board and help us with this. I mean, I can sketch, but I'm not an illustrator. It's not my profession. So we really, really need support for that as well. And the Rhino Momma and myself, we will start working on that pretty soon, hopefully this year when she has some time and she's not busy being a superhero for the species. Then, yes, if there's any ideas out there, let me quickly see if somebody's been watching and if they've commented and if they've left. Oh my God, they have. Okay, so we have people watching. Silke Bird says, thank you so very much. And then she says, it must become the priority of conservation to open the sluices of funding globally. There is an easy way, Petra. We must engage from the top down. Our approach must be bold, brazen, determined. I love this woman. So I'm going to connect. And then there's another, people are exhausted, not insensitive. Even non-vegans suffer from dystopia, I hope I said that right, please excuse me, overload. It can be healed with communications and creative, bold solutions. Yes, Petra, the whole domino effect must pay. Yes, yes, yes. So that's Silke Bird. I'm so grateful for her watching today. I know that she's a powerhouse to reckon with and that she loves animals. I mean, this woman just loves animals. Okay. So from the Rhino Momma Project, is there anything else that you want to say before I say goodbye? I know that I've asked this, but I think we've covered the grandchildren. I think that's the important one.
We just need to respect our animals and love them, because I think we've been put on this earth to protect them. So yeah.
Yeah, we have been put onto this earth to, and I want to not use the word protect, but also guard. We've been put on here to guard and admire and appreciate them, and we're just not doing that.
Yeah.
And I want to say that the Rhino Momma for today has been extremely nervous.
Very.
To us. So, you know, there may be some information that we haven't really mentioned because it's impossible to always think about everything and then mention that, you know, when somebody's interviewing you. So for anybody who wants more information from the day-to-day runnings, and what it actually costs, whether it's, you know, you're donating to milk or you getting somebody on board, to, you know, to do a fundraiser or whatever it is that you feel inclined and inspired to do, please do so and connect with them via their website. And let's just be, you know, amazing human beings. Let's just be amazing human beings and live with these amazing creatures on this amazing planet going forward, in an amazing life. That's my ending. That's my ending. So, yes.
Oh, thank you for chatting with me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I know that you were very nervous, and obviously I speak a lot. I always speak too much, but if people can endure it, then they will watch it, and if they care, then they will follow up on that. So the website has a donate button. It's beautiful. It's big. You can't miss it. It's yellow. It says donate. Click on it and give something. And if you do, then our lovely Rhino Momma will send you a beautiful, beautiful image of Scarp and Tinus. I think it was Tinus.
Yes.
Scarp. And that is such an amazing image. So I'm so jelly that I didn't take it, but yes, that's an amazing image. And let's be the friends and the guardians, and let's take care of them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. I know that your time is very valuable, and have a lovely day. And let's get this message out.
Thanks so much, Petra.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to say goodbye, everyone, and thank you for commenting. Let me see if there's another comment. Yes, no, the word dominion in scripture was mistranslated. We are in fact entrusted with the stewardship of grace. Oh, you know, exactly.
Awesome.
Grace, yes. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Have a lovely day, and please like, watch, subscribe, and share my little channel, and also the video, and also your money. Okay. All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.